What's up? My name's Nick Wichman. Today I want to talk about gimbals, and in particular, the DJI Ronin-S, one-handed gimbal. I want to cover what's in this box. What do you get for this? I also want to cover why do you need a gimbal? What is it good for? What is this one good for? And what are the limitations on the Ronin-S? So let's just really quickly get into it. Okay, first, what's in the box? Why don't we crack this thing open, see what it looks like. Inside, we're gonna find the gimbal assembly here with the controls. We've got the battery, the handle, the tripod. We've got our cables, the mounting plate, power adapter. So let's put it together really quick. Slide this, lock it up. So that's all together. Easy. Okay, now that we've got it all together, why do you need a gimbal? Now, if you've been in video for a while, you know that handheld shots can only go so far before you realize that you just need something to stabilize your footage. You can do a lot of tricks to keep your footage nice and smooth, kind of smooth, slow it down, use a strap, all these tricks to kind of just keep it from jittering like crazy because as humans, we just can't hold still. And that's really where gimbals have kind of exploded from that necessity, The Ronin-S, I think, is the farthest the gimbal technology has come for the consumer. These are available at $750, or, around there. That's so cheap. The last gimbal I have was a Pilotfly H2, and I got that a couple years ago, and since then, the technology has exploded. The Zhiyun crane and the Ronin-S have introduced the follow focus wheel, which whether or not it's compatible with your camera, it is a step into feature land. We're just introducing new features that make it cooler. The balancing within this gimbal is the best I've seen. And for the price and for the mobility for a single shooter, this is pretty incredible. What I think is one of the coolest features of the Ronin-S is the introduction of the trigger, which seems simple and kind of stupid to be like my favorite feature. But this alone kind of locks the camera wherever you're looking, and then if you go into a dip, it'll keep the camera focused where you were looking. Another awesome feature is the sport mode where you just press, Jesus Christ, you press a button and then you can just twist and turn as fast as you want, and it's going to bring the camera along with you. It's great for when you're doing shoots and you're trying to refocus on something quickly and you don't have time to have the slow little paced turns that are really smooth, but it's like you got to get to the shot. Those are really cool. I still think that having a control stick on the gimbal itself is, aside from just quickly framing where you need to be, it's just not gonna get used that much by me. The tripod that comes with it, which folds down into this handle, is so useful. I've been on a lot of shoots where I have my gimbal, whether it's the one hand or two hand, and you just have to set it down. And it's a pain because you can't. There's no tripod at the bottom, and this just makes it just boop, there you go, done. And you set it down and you're good to go. It's incredible. The limitations on the gimbal though. There's a lot of complex shots that I've seen people try that you just can't quite get on a one-handed gimbal like this. And one of them is trying to do a roll while you're panning, or anything where there's just complex multiple axis movements. It just doesn't do that well, and it'll kind of sometimes hit the edge, which is not great. Or it will jitter out and then beep a bunch and make you feel like an asshole for beating up your new tool. An upgrade's an upgrade. The Pilotfly was so much less complex. I appreciate Pilotfly's dedication to the technology, but as things progress, you've got to reevaluate your tools. I think that DJI has grown a name for themselves in the industry where they're making really incredible products that can do really cool stuff. The Ronin M is incredible as well, and if you haven't checked that out, go check it out. But it is a 3-axis gimbal that doesn't really need any bells or whistles. It's just all by movement, and it has a lot less restriction because of weird elements like this. Like, you can do a lot more with a Ronin M, but it's a two-handed gimbal, and it might not match your shooting style, especially if you're traveling a bunch. So this might be a great option for you. I wanted to share it. Here it is. Bada bing, bada boom. As of right now with Sony cameras, you have to get an additional cable. I shoot on Sony a7S2. You have to get an additional camera control cable from DJI that's about $20. You can get it at a camera store if you have one in town or order it, and you have to pay shipping, which is stupid. And that will connect to the Sony camera, and then from there you can control your recording straight from the Ronin, which is a big deal. I have so many clips on my old gimbal that are me pressing the button and then the camera's jittering and then it's just wasted time. But if you're ready for the shot, you press the record button, you got your video rolling. Beautiful, beautiful feature. Thank you. In addition to the gimbal itself, there is the DJI Ronin app, which you can connect once you have it all set up. And it will allow you to customize and fine tune to test the balance and tell you if it's not balanced well at all, which is soul crushing sometimes because you work so hard because it takes so long. But you can also set up time lapse or motion lapse shoot scenes where you can set the points where you want the camera to look and how long it's going to take from each point, and then you can hit record and it will shoot the video that you want in those places, or it'll shoot time lapse photos across that as well, which is really incredible to have a device that stands on its own, that you can program for your phone, and will just execute whatever commands you give it. That's very cool, which I really like. I think that's a step forward in technology. So what kind of shots can you get with a gimbal? Well, there's a lot. There are limitations, but the shots you can get are just creamy, smooth glide shots through an environment. The best ones are usually where there's something in the foreground or near foreground all the time, passing you as you're kind of gliding down a sidewalk or a street or through a music video. You want some depth of field, and if everything's just way off in the background, you lose the magic. You can also do kind of gliding pan shots where you reveal or hide whatever you're looking at by sliding behind something. Any movement that you make is just so much more balanced. It does take a lot of practice to get comfortable using a tool like this because, you know, not everything is going to come easy. Here's a couple clips just kind of shooting around and testing some cool shots to show off the movements of the Ronin. I want to say thank you to Tommy Spencer, my good friend and great photographer, for helping me out. Hit him up at Emulsion in Motion on Instagram. The first shot is a dolly shot, frontwards, backwards, just moving through space as if you're on a dolly with wheels like a train track. The second shot is a crane shot, up and down. You're making your camera smooth and mobile beyond what your normal handheld shots might be. Makes it easy. Third shot is a tracking shot. When you're moving in tandem with your subject alongside them, just getting to capture them in the space as they move. Next is the orbital shot. When you are orbiting around the subject matter in their space, the depth of field disconnects them from the background. Then, of course, we've got the barrel roll shot, as I like to call it, corkscrew, whatever the hell you want to call it. This is not a type of shot, this is an effect. These barrel rolls are good for transitions and building tension as the ground plane just moves and skews. Even if it's spinning all the way, it's just kind of a really distorted view of reality, which is great when your tone of your film or shots needs to distort what is understood and kind of shift the ground plane, which can be really disconcerting for viewers, which is great for adding emotion. And lastly, you know, as we're all just learning and growing together in a community of like-minded people, buying a gimbal is not going to answer all of your needs and all of your problems in your production. It might make some types of shoots easier, but for the price tag, you might just hold off and keep shooting the way you do, unless you really know you need one. They are a tool, and tools are meant to be used in certain ways. So getting one of these needs to be set on a purpose and get those shots that you need. But you know, if you're not feeling great about your composition or your tech skills, editing or whatever, it's not gonna fix those. It's not gonna make your concept better. It's just gonna deliver the concept that you've got. If you're thinking about getting a gimbal, what I would recommend is you take a minute and think about what aspects of your production and your creative process might need attention before investing in something like this. If you feel comfortable putting your ideas down and seeing where things are gonna be going, and then understanding that in order to get these types of storytelling shots, you're gonna need something like a gimbal, then great. you might be there, and I think that's awesome. But a lot of us are just kind of experimenting and growing and telling stories in the way that we do the best we can. And spending money on gear just might not be the thing that you need to invest in. The investment might be more of a personal investment into yourself. So Ronin-S, I'd give it 4 out of 5 stars for technology and presentation and functionality. Go check one out at a local camera shop. If you're in Portland, go to Pro Photo Supply. They have them there that you can look at and test out and see how they work and see if they're right for you. If you have any questions or comments, hit me up, leave a comment below or like this, and feel free to reach out and share what you're working on, because I'd love to see it. Cool. Good luck.